Today, we're going to talk about two factors that can really mess up your training, your practice in sports vision and vision training in general. We're going to talk about the halo effect and something called hindsight bias. Each of these must be understood and avoided at all costs in order to maximize your training and your performance. Hello, I'm Dr. Laby. I'm an ophthalmologist with 30 years experience working with elite professional Olympic athletes. This channel is devoted to all athletes and is designed to bring you information and techniques in sports vision to help you perform at your best. So what is the halo effect and what is hindsight bias? The halo effect is the impression we have of a product, of a person, of a technique, of a skill, of anything that's based on a single piece of information about that product, that person, that technique, and so forth. Let's talk about an example of the halo effect. Well, we often go to the store or the supermarket to buy food, and we look at packages and look at the ingredients of the package, and we look at what it says on there, and sometimes we see it says no added sugar. Most people who see no added sugar will think they have something that has no sugar, that has low in carbs, is probably healthy for you, something that sounds like it's going to be really good to buy and really healthy product. But what does it really mean when it says no added sugar? Well, it can mean one of two things. It can mean actually that they didn't add any sugar to the material, to the food, or it could mean they didn't need to add any sugar because it was already so sweet that it already had plenty of sugar in it. But it doesn't describe at all how much actual sugar is in the product. For example, if you take a look at this label over here, a label from orange juice, you can see that there's no added sugar, but there's plenty of sugar already in the package, in the drink, and there's high calorie and high carbohydrate. So the halo effect kind of triggered in our heads that this was something good because it said no added sugar. But in fact, when we look at all the rest of the information, we find out that it actually is very high in sugar, very high in calories, and very high in carbohydrates. Well, that's a great example in the food realm, in the supermarket realm of the halo effect. But what about in sports? Well, here's another example of some sleepwear that's sold by Under Armour and is endorsed by Tom Brady. When we think of Tom Brady, we think of the greatest player overall, greatest quarterback, has won many, many Super Bowls and so forth. Well, that's very positive. And if that's associated with Tom Brady, it's probably pretty good, and maybe it'll make me sleep better. Well, that's again the halo effect. We're making these decisions based on the person, based on our impression, without having any of the real information to decide scientifically, factually, if this is really a product that behaves as we think. Now, I have no information whether or not the sleepwear is positive or negative. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of the exercise is to understand the effect of our impression when we first look at something. And the halo effect is rampant all over in marketing. In fact, that's how I think marketers work, by making us feel good about something we see and wanting to get it without knowing specifically whether that is relevant to our purchase or our use of the product. Now, what about hindsight bias? What is hindsight bias? Well, hindsight bias is sort of the I knew it all along phenomenon. That when something happens, you kind of feel like, I knew that was going to happen. I could predict that. If you think about it, the hindsight bias gives an unfair level of confidence in our ability to predict what's going to happen next. We think we did so well in predicting what happened in the past that we easily can tell what's going to happen next. But in fact, that's not the case. That's a subconscious bias, which allows us to have a false impression of our ability to predict the future. Let's take, for example, in sports, the 2015 Super Bowl game between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. If you recall that game, at the end of the first half, the Seahawks had a great play and they scored points. And then the end of the game got to be very close. Seattle had the ball right on the edge of the end zone, and they ran a play. And they had a couple of choices. They could have had a running play or a throwing play. And as you can see in the video, they threw the ball, but in fact the ball was intercepted. And they went to lose the game, lose the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady and the New England Patriots won again. Well, if you listen to the commentator in this video, you'll see that it sounded like he knew all along that was the wrong thing to do. It was wrong to throw the pass. It should have been a run, and that's why they lost the game. That's hindsight bias. But let's look at that a little bit more scientifically. Let's try to understand why that's really not the case. Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks, actually did a wonderful job. Because statistically, if you look at it, in that point of the field, right near the end zone, the chance for a fumble by his player trying to run the ball into the end zone was higher than the chance for the ball to be intercepted. So if you think about just a matter of risks, the chance of fumbling the ball and losing the game because of a fumble was higher than losing the game by an interception, which in fact is what happened. The other thing is, if you look at the timing, when you throw a pass, two things could happen. The pass would be caught, and there would be a touchdown, and they would win the game most likely. Or the pass would be dropped, and the clock was stopped, leaving enough time to still have 2 chances at 2 running plays. So by throwing the pass, they had a chance to win. They had something that was statistically better than running. And if that failed, they still had the chance to run 2 more plays. After that, chances to get a touchdown and win the game. So if you think about it in terms of those metrics, you find that that play that actually ended up in a interception, which was a pretty rare event, is something that statistically probably be worth doing every time that you can. So the hindsight bias looked like it was a bad thing to do, but when you had the data, it actually looked like the right thing to do. That can be the danger of the hindsight bias. So Coach Carroll said, actually, I think the next day in the press conference later on that evening, that the choice of the play was correct, but unfortunately the outcome was incorrect. So what can we actually do to avoid hindsight bias when we play sports, when we look to see what's going to happen next, try to anticipate and plan what's going to be in the future? Well, the first thing is to understand and to accept the fact that the future is not predictable. There's nobody that's able to tell exactly what's going to happen in the future. When you depend too much on what happened in the immediate past to predict what's going to happen in the immediate future, that's where the hindsight bias can bite, and that's where you can make a mistake. You must rely on actual data, actual performance. We want to look at statistics. What's the chance of something happening versus something else? And in general, we want to go with the higher likelihood of the event. That's going to be the more likely choice, not something based on our immediate impression of what happened before. Secondly, if we do make a prediction based on those numbers and it becomes true, we don't want to get too self-confident because we again know that we can't predict the future. And so we want to look at the situation anew, look at the relevant facts for that moment, and make a decision what to do next. Lastly, the best way to avoid hindsight bias is to have a plan. Think about in advance based on the information you can gather before you actually begin the competition, what your opponent is like, what they're most likely going to do. Have a plan what to do, and don't change that plan based on what's happening during the event, because that allows you to second guess yourself and to introduce these biases and halo effects into the game. We also don't want to remember what just happened and think that's going to happen in the future, as we said. We want to forget what just happened. Just like the goldfish, we want to have a memory of about 10 seconds. We want to stick to our plan, not remember what happened just now and think that it can happen again. Forget about that and just move forward with the same plan we put together to have greater success in our game. For more information about the importance of that 10-second memory, take a look at our video below, our short video below, about thinking like a goldfish and flushing the toilet. Until next time, keep your memory short and keep your training strong. And to learn more and have the best chance of winning, subscribe to our channel so that we can send you updates when we release new videos every week, and you can learn maximally how to use your vision for sports excellence.